you've clicked on this video, I know you're someone who values success and will do anything they can to achieve it. You're a hardworking individual who wants to grow, and you clicking on this video definitely shows that. I'm Raihan, and I'm on a mission to help you break free from all the modern day constraints there is out there. It's also my mission to help you become a better, more improved version of yourself. If you like how that sounds, please make sure you like and subscribe, as it really helps the channel out. It also helps my content get to the right people who need to hear this message. But now that's out of the way, let me begin the video. I'm not going to waste any of your time, and I'm going to jump straight right into what I'm about to say. It's what I experienced personally, and it's always what happens to people who are on a path to finding success. And it's you being disliked or isolated. As you improve yourself and you start to level up in all these different areas that you're leveling up in, what you'll notice is that the people you know from school, from work, or wherever you know, you'll start to notice that they'll distance themselves from you. All of those people will all start to be way more different around you, and you'll feel it. You'll notice people distancing themselves from you in social settings and even isolating you. You might even notice that people don't even want to be around you in general, and you know you're being gossiped about behind closed doors. Some people might shame you and call you weird for different reasons, but more than anything, what you'll feel the most is the shift of energy in the people around you. You might not even want to hang out with people from your school or people that you know, because you're on this path and you're so fundamentally different to everyone else you know. It doesn't matter what you're focused on or doing right now, but all I'm going to say is it's probably a good thing. You've realized that taking risks and making progress is something you're taking a step towards. You're striving for a bigger vision, and not only are you doing that, but you just can't seem to relate to anyone around you. You really just want to escape and become your own person. It's so strange that, for whatever reason, as you improve yourself, what you'll notice is that people just, for whatever reason, see you negatively. You'd expect that as you grow and develop and you become a better character, you have a better character, what you'll notice is that instead of people treating you positively like they should be, they see you negatively. And with me, this is something that I relate to heavily, and it's what I experienced personally on my journey to success. So with me personally, I experienced this, and it's at the core of my being. Like, I've experienced this firsthand, and it's something that helped me grow and develop, and it helped me recognize that, yeah, as long as you are improving, you will have trials and tribulations on your way, and being isolated and disliked is the biggest one that I experienced so far. I remember when I was 15 and 16 and I was in school, so I'd have been in year 10 and 11, I was hardcore focused on improving, developing, and not wasting time. I deleted social media. I was really focusing on building myself up. And during this time, I experienced so much isolation, to the point where you would have thought that I was like alone and I had no one. So in school, I remember we had these things called drop-down days. So in year 10 and 11, we had these things called drop-down days, where you'd have one day where you have lessons, but they're not regular lessons. They're more like, they're based on PSHE. So I don't know if you know what PSHE is, but PSHE is basically like, you kind of have to be taught it in the UK. Like, it's like you're forced to be taught it like in the curriculum. But I remember on these days, I had the same class for the same people in the same class for every single lesson. And during this period, I would quite literally be isolated from everyone. Like, I would go and sit by myself. People would always be looking at me, and it was never really a "we dislike you" sort of thing. It was kind of like I was just socially excluded. And whenever there was group work and stuff, I'd also be shunned away from that as well. So if I was sat at a table and there was a table behind me doing work, I would have kind of been pushed away from that group, and I would have kind of been expected to do things myself. And I remember when we had to do group work or like collaborations in class, I'd always have to cling to people, because I was quite literally on my own through that period. I would always be sat at the back by myself or sat at the front by myself, and more than anything, it just felt really bad because I was just being isolated. And I remember so much, specifically to the point where I knew I was the topic of discussion for other people when they were with their friends or when they were alone without me. I always knew I was the topic of discussion, and people would just never say anything to me. Like, I remember when I was in school, people would just never say anything to my face. It was always just behind closed doors, and I was basically disliked for whatever reason. And this is something I need you to listen to very carefully, is that on your journey to success, when people recognize how much you're improving, it's just an energetic format. Like, people can feel it. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's just one of those things where when you walk and when you talk to people, people can just sense to what degree of power and levels you are at. And in my opinion, when you succeed and when you become more and more self-improved and you start learning new things and start making money and you do all of these good things, what will happen is people will recognize that, and they might even isolate you like they did with me. I remember in school I was so focused where every time we'd have assemblies and breaks, I used to skip them. Like I was supposed to go and I would skip them, and I remember I would just do work of some form. I used to read books in that time. I used to watch videos. I used to skip assemblies to like watch videos. So I remember like so every certain day, so every Monday or every Tuesday, we'd have an assembly or whatever day it was, and we'd have to line up in tutor groups. I used to skip assemblies and I used to go and watch content like on how to improve my life and how to like do certain things, like how to make more progress in the gym or how to learn new things. Like I was always constantly growing and developing, and I used every single amount of time I could to just grow. It'd even get to a point where I would literally just be reading in a class for the people who would just be staring at me. So for tutor times, I remember I had this book called Deep Work. I try and put it up on screen, but I remember I had like a class full of people and they used to just be me sat there reading the book. And I remember I finished the whole book over a course of a few weeks. And I remember from that point, I remember everyone used to be on their phones and I used to just look around and see everyone just on their phones. And I remember I was sat there for a moment, I was like, I'm so fundamentally different to these people. Like I'm so fundamentally different to these people. Well, I don't scroll, I don't waste time on social media, and I'm actually bettering myself. Throughout all of this time, by the way of me saying that I was isolated and disliked, I was making more progress than ever. I was making way more progress towards my goals, and in the gym I'd made more progress than I had, like full stop. Like I'd made more progress than I had since I started. I wasn't on social media whatsoever, and I wasn't scrolling like everyone else around me was. My life at that point was just amazing. I knew girls were into me and I knew that people wanted to go out with me and go on dates and whatever. But I was so locked in and focused that I genuinely did not care. And in specific, I didn't even notice. If there was a girl that was into me, I wouldn't notice. Or if there was a girl looking at me from across the street, I wouldn't even notice. I was just so locked in on what I was doing. And I was so immersed in my self-improvement journey. I know what I've said might sound great, like you've made progress and you've moved away from everyone. During this period, I only had one friend, and me and this one friend were just so locked in and focused during those 2 years. It was me and this one friend, and I had nobody else in my corner. It was just me and this one friend against pretty much everyone in my year group. Like during this period, I remember I heard people speaking about parties and social events, and for some reason I kind of felt left out. But on the other hand, I also felt like I'd been gaining so much momentum and success during this time. I'd gained so much momentum and success that there was literally no going back at this point. Like I'd changed so much to the point where I couldn't go back to those friend groups that I knew, even if I wanted to. There was quite literally zero chance of returning. I'd crossed the border and now I can't go back. Like it was just so insane. And honestly, even though I couldn't go back, I didn't even want to talk to those types of people anyway. People were so low quality, and I just saw them as worse people because I improved myself. My story and what I've experienced is something a lot of people go through. I remember I watched this video from this guy on YouTube. I can't remember what he said, but I'll try and play the video on screen somewhere. But it perfectly outlines exactly what happens when you are on this journey of self-improvement and you are on this journey of just improving yourself every single day.
There is a period in everybody's journey where they are so different because they've started to do new things that they no longer fit in with their old set of friends. But they're not sufficiently developed that they've gained their new set of friends. And all of my friends are taking the piss. Oh, not drinking again. Too good for us, are we? Not going out again this week. Oh, okay, well, like, enjoy staying in home and reading. And that lonely chapter that's in the middle is something that I would say almost nobody that I've ever met who has gone from a place where they are to a place where they want to be hasn't gone through.
What I've spoken about in this video is something I really wanted to put up because it's just so many people can relate to not having friends and being quite alone during this period of where you're improving and you haven't yet met your new friends, but you still haven't escaped the old friends, and it's just that you'll try and make progress and you'll be dragged down by the old group of friends that you have. You'll be dragged down by everyone you know, and you'll just be in a position where you're trying to gain success, but the people that you think care about you are just dragging you down. But one thing I will say is all of this is part of the process, and all of this is part of the journey of you basically changing and improving your life. You need to see this as a mandatory step that will come to you at some point where you can't relate to anyone else and you're truly on your own for a while. For you to break free from all the bad things that are out there and break free from all the modern day constraints, it genuinely requires so much of you, and you need to be dedicated to this path where you feel like you need to just be better than who you were yesterday. But more than anything, I want this video to be seen as learning ground and knowledge so that you know what to do in the future and you know what's ahead. One final thing I'll say is that if you are receiving backlash or you are being shamed or you are being socially excluded, this is all part of the process, and this is how you actually attribute success. So I don't know if you know about attributing success, but attributing success is how you gain success and how you become a better, more improved version. You need to see this as part of your journey, and in a few months, in a few years, this will just be part of your story where you'll tell the younger generations, the people you know, about exactly what happened with you being isolated. After months and years of you going through this journey, of you improving yourself and developing yourself, you're doing the good habits, you'll sit back and you'll look at all the moments that were negative. You look at the social exclusions and you'll think that all of it was worth it, because the point you're at now is not the point that you were before. So you need to always remember that. If this video has helped you, make sure you comment break free down below so I can help as many people as I possibly can. Share this video to a friend if it's meant something to you. But as always remember, always strive for excellence, because great things will come your way.